Norway's role in Europe, in the European gas market, will depend on policies, prices and activities in Norway. The Norwegian continental shelf is a large area. The total maritime area is 2.2 million square kilometers, and the authorities think that about half of that can have a petroleum potential. I mean, the potential is huge, but you need activity, you need to find, and several discoveries have been made quite recently. So Norway is likely, I think, to become more and more of a stabilizer. The volumes could increase somewhat, but I think most likely the present volumes can be kept, and if the market conditions were very prone, prices were high, you might see a response that Norway might say, okay, we will produce more, but that is not certain, because with high prices, we might as well say we don't need all that money. I think it is very expensive, and Europe wants to save the world. Europe comprises 7% of the world's population. It has a diminishing part of the world economy. I think to do such a thing in isolation is rather hazardous, and I think it compromises Europe's competitive position. Take, for example, the difference in energy prices, in natural gas prices between Europe and the United States. You will see that the large chemical firms industry, which will take with them a lot of jobs, could move to the US, to the east coast of the US instead of being on the west coast of Europe, unfortunately. I think also some of the policies under the Kyoto Protocol, like the ETS system, I think they're a failure. You buy emission quotas from countries that can sell them in unlimited quantities. So just what you do, you transfer money to countries, and they will have higher growth, and they will have more emissions. These things are very inconsiderate, and they didn't take into, those who made this policy did not take the present crisis into account, because today, emission permits are almost free of charge. So you can buy, it's like, instead of sinning, well, to make up for sinning in the old days, you paid money to the church. Now you do the same. It's a bit the same. You sin, you emit carbon, and you pay, but what you pay today is so cheap that it doesn't make sense. That is my analogy. I would rather have seen a carbon tax, systematic without any exceptions. That would mean that preferably worldwide, but then like Europe could start, maybe be joined by the United States, maybe by China, maybe by Russia, that would punish coal, which is the big culprit for emissions, and favour natural gas. The main challenges will be to balance the supply. You will get a lot of supply coming from overseas. Today Qatar sells a lot to Asia, but you will have boatloads coming from, possibly from the United States, from Canada certainly, maybe from Venezuela, from Nigeria. There's a lot of gas around in the world. Lots of gas in North Africa, where there's a large potential. Libya could come back with more, Egypt, Central Asia, and Europe will need to balance. My view is that the best idea, both for gas and for electricity, would have one European grid, with free access, one regulator, not 27 regulators, one regulator, a transparent, open trading and transportation system. Scandinavia in the electricity has a model. There's 4 countries have the common system that you can get. So, mean that today the security of supply is a bilateral issue largely between one seller and one buyer. With an open market, it will be multilateral. Okay, say you had some problems with Ukraine, you might then see in Uzhgorod a supply problem, but that would be spread out to the entire European system. So if you had problems in Gibraltar, you feel a bit of it in Helsinki, but not very much. You see what I mean? That is what I would see. And you would need to move. My hope would now be that the banking union has been agreed upon against German resistance, which is very important. But this is, you're getting towards more European integration, which I think is a very good thing. And the next step one of the next steps could be to have an energy Europe within at least the Eurozone, with one regulator for electricity, one regulator for natural gas, or for the same thing.